everybody. So this is the first unit of Unit 14, which is our statistics unit, and it's also our last unit in the curriculum of Algebra 1. So today we are going to look at how we can find the mean, median, mode, and range in order to analyze data. So first, let's look at the do now. So in the do now, it says which function is shown in the table. They give us a table of values, and they give us 4 functions to choose from. You can do it a couple ways. You could take this x and plug it in, but the easiest way is just to use your calculator. They have a table, they have a function, so that means we should be going to y equals. So let's try answer choice A, 2 raised to the x. So we don't care about the graph right now, we just care about the table. I see -2 and 0.25. Here I see -2 and 1 over 4. 1/4 is the same thing as 0.25. So far so good. Then we have -1, 0.5. Here we have -1 and 1/2. 1/2 and 0.5 are the same. Then we have 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 4, and 2, 4. So it looks like we actually found our answer. We don't have to check any other one. But I do want to show you what a wrong answer would look like. Let's say we were checking answer choice B, 2x plus 1, and we go to the table. If we look, it has -2 and -3. That already doesn't work. But notice it does have 0, 1, just like ours did. Some of your answer choices will have maybe 1 or 2 of these points, but in order to be the correct answer, it needs to have all of them. Okay, so that would mean B is not it, and I'm not going to check the rest, but you get the gist. So going over some definitions. First, data. So a data is a set of values collected. The values could be whole numbers, they can be decimals, fractions, they can be any type of number that you can collect. They're usually separated by commas. Today we're going to be finding the mean, median, mode, and range. So the mean is the sum of all the values divided by their total number of values. So let's look at this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. So that would be the total number of values. Also, it is called the average. You can interchange these two words. So the median is the middle number when all values are placed in numerical order. That is so important. In numerical order, they should go from least to greatest. Okay, they have to be listed in order or else you're not finding the median of the data. If there are 2 numbers in the middle, you have to find the mean of the 2 numbers, the 2 middle numbers. Mode is the value that occurs most often. There can be no mode, that is totally possible, and there can be more than one mode. And lastly, the range is the highest value minus the lowest value. So let's get to some examples. So example 1, James recorded the number of miles he jogged each week. Below is the data he collected. Find the mean, median, mode, and range of the data set. So we're finding 4 things here. Let's first start with the mean. Okay, so for the mean, we have to find the sum of all of our values and divide it by the total number. So sum of values divided by total number of values. Okay, so let's find that. So the sum of the values, we have to add up all of these. So we have 4 plus 10 plus 10, and so on. divided by the total number of values. Now the numbers, we just have to count these. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total values. So we're dividing the sum by 9. Let's see what we get when we do this. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to add up the values. So we have 4. I did not want to type that there. We have 4 plus 10 plus 10. Oh, that's a 1. So be careful, guys. It can happen where you mess up. 14, 4, 25, 15, 22, and 16. And we get 120. So the sum is 120, and we're dividing that number by 9. So the mean is going to equal whatever number this is. Actually, I don't want to use equal. Sorry, guys. So the mean, so we have to do 120 divided by 9. And we get 13.333333333333. Now, we don't want to write this number as is because the question didn't tell us to round, okay? So we are going to change this back to a fraction. So we press math, frac, enter, and it becomes 40 over 3. So the mean is 40 over 3. Another way, if you do want to write it as a decimal, you don't feel comfortable leaving it as a fraction, you can do 13.3 with the bar on top, meaning that that 3 is going to be repeating. So here is our mean. Okay, now let's find our median. So to find our median, the first thing you have to do is list your values from least to greatest. So that's what I'm going to do first. The smallest value here is 4. So I see 2 of them, so we're going to start by writing the 2 4s. We're just reorganizing how it's listed. The next smallest number is 10, so there's 2 of those, so I'm going to write 2 of the 10s. Notice I'm crossing them out as I go. That's so I know which values I already used. Next one is 14. Cross that out. Then we have 15. Then we have 16. Then we have 22. And lastly, 25. So, to figure out which is in the middle, you want to cross out one of the smallest numbers and one of the greatest numbers. And you're going to approach the middle like that. So, this 4 is the smallest, the 25 is the greatest. Now I'm going to go to the next one in, 4 and 22. Then the 10 and 16, 10 and 15. And we're left with the middle number, which is 14. So that tells us that our median is 14. Okay, let's find our mode. So remember, the mode is the number that shows up most often. There can be no mode, and there can be more than one. So if we look at our data set, I see 4 showing up twice. But I also see 10 showing up twice. Since they both show up the same number of times, but it is more than one, we have 2 modes. Our modes are 4 and 10. And that's all the work we need to show for that. It really doesn't have much. And lastly, let's find our range. Extend the page even more. So for the range, To find the range, you have to take the biggest number and subtract the smallest number from it. So looking at our data set here, our biggest number is 25. So we take 25, and from it we subtract our smallest number, which is 4. So we have to do 25 minus 4, which is 21. So that tells us that our range is 21. Okay, and that is the four numbers that we had to find. Okay, so let's do example number 2. So for example number 2, it says Sarah's test scores were the following. Determine the mean, median, mode, and range of her scores. So let's first find the mean. Now for the mean, we have to add up all the scores and then divide it by the number of scores that there are. So we have 64 plus 80 plus 88. It's going to take a little while. 78, 60, 92, 84, 76, 86, my goodness, 78, 72, and 92. All divided by the number of values that there are. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 values. Okay, so let's find what the sum of that is. 64, 80, 88, 78, 60, 92, 84, 76, 86, 78, 72, and 92. And they all add up to give us 950. So this is 950 divided by 12. So let's divide it by 12 and see what we get. So here divided by 12, and we get 79.166666667. Now, that is a decimal that goes on for forever, and it doesn't tell us to round, so you can turn it into a fraction if you'd like, or you can do 79.16 with the bar on top, showing that the 6 is the number that repeats, not the 1. Now, I know it does end in a 7. That's just because your calculator has to stop at some point. So it stops at that point and then rounds it. So now let's do the median. So to find the median, you first need to organize all your values from smallest to biggest. So looking at our values here, it looks like our smallest number is 60. So that's going to be the first one. Then I see a 64, and then a 72, and then a 76. Okay, now I see two 78s. Then an 80, an 84, an 86, an 88, and two 92s. Now if I look, all of my values are crossed out, so that means I got them all. Now let's start finding the median. So to find the median, you cross out the smallest and the biggest, and then you keep doing that until you get the middle number. Well, now look, we have two numbers in the middle. We can't cross them both out because we won't be able to find the middle number that way. When there's two numbers in the middle, we find the average. So we have to do 78 plus 80 divided by 2. So go to our calculator, 78 plus 80. Then we divide that number by 2 because there are two terms there, and we get 79. So this is equal to 79, which means our median is 79. Okay, now let's go on to our mode. So remember, mode is the number that shows up most often. So if we look, you can either look at the list that you made for the median or the originals. Now, if I'm looking here, none of these numbers seem to repeat except for 78, shows up twice. And also 92 shows up twice. So since they both show up twice, that tells us that the mode is 78 and 92. Okay, lastly, let us find the range. So to find the range, you do the biggest number minus the smallest. The biggest number here is 92. The smallest number here is 60. So if you were to subtract these two, you would get 32. So that tells us that the range is 32. Okay, now this is a lot of work. I know what you must be thinking. There has to be an easier way. Well, there is. We can find all of this information using the calculator. That's why calculators are so important. So here are the steps. If you need to pause the video and write this down or take a picture, go for it, but I am going to move forward. So I'm going to show you how to find it on the calculator, okay? So it gives us the grades on the test, and it says which statement is true about the measures of central tendency. The measures of central tendency are the mean, median, and mode. Okay, so we have to find those three values. So now, go to the calculator, you're going to press Stat. Then you're going to press Enter on Edit. Now you're going to type all your values into L1. So our first value was 90. Press Enter. Then 85. Then 76. 63. 94. 89. 81. 76, 78, 69, and 97. Now, I just want to make sure I got them all. This says on my last value that there should be 11 points. If we were to count here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it looks like I'm good. So now you're going to go back to Stat. Go over one to Calc, and you're going to press Enter on one var stats. Now all of this pops up. You're just going to press Enter all the way through it until it gets to Calculate. Okay, now you're going to go down, and look, it gives you this information. Min, Q1, Med, Q3, Max. I know that doesn't mean much to you now, but this is all the information that we need. It also gives us this X bar, okay? So our mean is represented in this information by x bar. Okay? So x bar is 81.63636364. So the 63 repeats. So this is 81.63 repeating. That's our mean. Our median is represented by where it says med. So when you scroll down, it does say med. So it's represented by med. And it tells us that the med, or the median, is 81. The only thing this will not tell you is the mode, but the mode is easy enough to identify. So let's look here. Let's look if any of our values repeat. So I only see 190, so 90 can't be the mode. 85, I only see one of them. Let's see if there's anything that repeats here. I see 76 repeating. And it looks like that's the only one that repeats. So the mode is 76. So now let's look at what our answer choices say. This says that the mean is greater than the mode. So the mean was 81.63. This is saying that that number is greater than the mode, which is 76. So yeah, that's true, but I do want to go over the rest of the answer choices since it's the first time seeing this. This says that the mean is less than the median. Mean is 81.63. It's saying that that's less than 81, and it's not. So 2 is not true. This says that the mode is greater than median. So 76 is greater than 81, not true. This is saying that the median equals the mean. The median was 81. The mean was 81.63. They're close, but they're not equal. So the answer was 1. Okay, let's do another problem here. Now I know not all of you have this graphing calculator. I am going to show you as well how to do it on Delta Math. But first, let's look here. So it gives us Kelsey scored the following points in her first 6 basketball games. What is the relationship between the measures of central tendency? So again, we go to Stat, go to Edit. Now you should have numbers in here. To get rid of them, scroll up to L1, press Clear, not Delete. You will delete the whole column and mess up the calculator. So press Clear, then press the down arrow and type in your values. So 22, enter 14, enter 19, 22, 8, and 17. Okay, so to get back to that list, you go to Stat, go to Calc, press Enter, enter until you get to Calculate. So we should be identifying the mean, median, and mode. So if we were to find the mean is represented by x bar, and in this case it is 17. So x with the line on top is the mean. The median, I don't see it here exactly, but I just have to scroll down and it's there. The median is 18. And I don't know why that went back to that color. Okay, so the median is 18. And lastly, the mode. Let's look here which happens the most, and it looks like it is 22. So the mode is 22. So now this is listing them. This is saying that the mode is greater than the median, which is greater than the mean. Let's see, the mode is 22. It's saying 22 is greater than the median, which is 18, which is greater than the mean, which is 17. That seems correct. Okay, now we can go through the rest of them, but we don't have to, so 1 is our answer. Delta Math, this is what your screens usually look like. There's a calculator button here. If you press the calculator, usually this shows up. That's not where you're going to press. You're going to press this arrow down, and then you're going to go to Statistics Calculator. It'll bring you to this screen. So you're going to type your data into L1. You're going to go up to Edit Lists, and then go to Calc Menu. On Sub Menu, you are going to press 1 var stats, and then you're going to press Calculate once you're done. I don't have any values in there, so nothing's going to show up, but that's how you use the Delta Math calculator. So to get credit for this class, you have to complete this practice page on a separate sheet of paper and then upload it to Google Classroom. Have a great day, guys.